The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome and thank you for attending Golden Shovel Agency's expert webinar series for April. I'm Aaron Brissois, CEO of Golden Shovel Agency, and today we're going to be watching a presentation of the best practices for an economic development website award winner. So before I get into introductions, first of all, just if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to type those on the control panel over on the right. There's a questions area, and we'll ask those at the end. The session will be recorded and the slides made available. So after the presentation, if you'd be interested in receiving some of those, that'll be available from Victor Perez. So without further ado, let me introduce the best practices for an economic development website award winner. And we'll be looking at the York County Development Corporation website. They were a winner of the Gold Excellence in Economic Development Award at the 2015 IADC Annual Conference. A couple of things that we're particularly excited about regarding this project and working with Lisa Hurley is the design of the website. When we get to see the site, to see that a brand's value is very much how people feel about it. It has to convey the goals of the community, what they're striving for, but in the same way, it has to ring true and be authentic for the people that are living there. And in a rural community, that can be pretty tricky, especially when you want to show where you want to be for 5 years down the road. And York County really nailed it with the look and feel. You'll see that in the site today. I also am really proud of the high level of engagement that Lisa and her team over at the York County Def Corp bring to the website. They work with the website closely. They've kept it very current to keep it engaged. And it has won an award last year, but what's exciting is all the things that have happened since then. Some of the things that we're proud of and we'll talk about a little bit later is it's now regionally connected with the Lincoln area development partners. They've added on some new tools that Bob from Smart Solutions Group will be sharing with us and others. So without further ado, let me introduce Lisa Hurley. She's the Executive Director at the York County Development Corporation.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on today, Aaron. We're just going to dive on in. I have a few slides here I'd like to share with the group, and then we'll launch over to the website from there. Okay, when we started this process, it actually took us probably 6 to 9 months to really decide where we wanted to go. We initially identified a list of things that our website had to be able to do. And this was beyond the branding. You know, we had updated our logo, we had identified our colors, but the things we really needed it to do is be able to speak to the business retention and expansion category. We wanted data on there, a ton of data, the services that are available and where businesses can go. Wanted to speak on the incentives, the resources, building and sites, maps, and identify our infrastructure. We had the same list for our business recruitment, and we kind of wrapped a lot of it under our Site Selectors tab up at the top of the website. And then, you know, the sites and buildings, we needed to be able to integrate LOIS, the Location One Information Systems. That is the system that the state of Nebraska, along with our utility partners, utilize. And in order to be able to work with our partners across the state, we need to have our buildings integrated into LOIS. As we went into the design with Golden Shovel, where Golden Shovel does have their buildings and their sites module as well. What we decided to do is utilize Golden Shovels for more of the commercial and retail, especially on the lease factor. And we utilized LOIS as our industrial or large commercial sites component. Workforce recruitment. I hear it everywhere I go. It's our top need for our businesses, and we really wanted to be able to address that on the website. So we integrated people recruitment. you know, the jobs, the quality of life, housing information, community information, that stuff. We are a public-private partnership, so we needed to be able to integrate membership information, which Golden Shovel's business directory has allowed us to do that, and then custom maps. So as we went into the process, these are items we knew we wanted to show on the website, but beyond that, we knew whoever designed it had to be responsive and mobile. Whether it was tablet or phones, we need to be able to have it look good. Our old website did not look good if you pulled it up on a mobile device. We're an office of 2, and keeping data updated was something we really wanted to have assistance with, which we do with the EMSI and the other, with the lowest the resources Golden Shovel brought to the table. Content management software was important to me because I'm not a trained website person. I had some classes a long time ago, but now getting back into it, I needed something easy to use. And when I first brought up the website needing to be updated, my board was hesitant because they had just done it like 3 years ago. So we wanted to make sure we had that ongoing management contract for assistance and design changes. So we weren't having the conversation right away again. Our Google Analytics has drastically increased, as you can see on this sign. And not only does the website is driving that, but the videos that we're releasing on the websites, the weekly articles, we do take it above and beyond the articles that are released by Golden Shovel. We do other releases throughout the week. But having that content management document that Golden Shovel assisted us with keeps us on track overall throughout the year to hit our targets. In those weeks when we're swamped here, we don't have to worry about it because we're still having something released. Since we won the award this year, we integrated our success stories. And this is a module, I think, Victor, we released this about 2 months ago. So it's fairly new. We only have 3 projects on it right now, but it's going to cover our larger projects throughout the community. And what's great about this is it connects into the regional site. So my York General Hospital project, or my York Cold Storage expansion project that's showing up on this page, not only shows up on the York page, but it shows up on the Lincoln Partnership, which is the region we're part of. And then the regional connectivity. Aaron, I'm going to hand this over to you and let you kind of talk about how the sites speak together. My local businesses are very, very excited that their projects are not only showing up on ours, but they're also showing up on the partnership page at the regional level.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Lisa. We were already working with York County before we just began working with the Lincoln Area Development Partnership. But once these guys came on board, it was really great because we were able to connect the region together. And because the Lincoln Partnership covers an area that includes York County as well as, I believe, 4 or 5 other communities, they're able to share information between them. And so, like Lisa was saying, if they put a success story in that's inside the York County site, that can be shared automatically with the region, so they can share that success story also, as well as the news and events. So when they're highlighting things that are happening in the area that are relevant to the whole region, the York County can get a little additional exposure by sharing it up to that group, as well as the content that's going into the partnership is shared down to York County, so they can choose to share some of those stories too if it's relevant to them particularly, and most of it is. So it makes for a really great way for the region to align and share some of the benefits of promoting all of the successes that are in the entire area. Great, back to you, Lisa.
Okay, and before we hop into the labor information and head it over to Bob, I'd like to hop onto the website here and just kind of show them around, because that's our big piece here. Hold on. So this is our home page. The banner up at the top in the middle, we do every once in a while put event-driven photos in there. Like we did a regional job fair a few weeks ago. So we had that interactive link here. So it popped up, people could click on it, it would take them directly to the page. Most of the photos are pretty standard throughout the year, and they reflect different businesses in the community. And this barn is one that's a tourist site in the community as well. These buttons here in the middle are all interactive, the sites and buildings, site selectors, businesses for sale, which is in a smaller community, we do have, I'll click on that. We have a number of small businesses that are looking for new owners, which is why we came up with this page. And I think we did this one after the award. It was right around the time, so it was definitely after the paperwork was submitted for the award, but it was an identified need. As you scroll down, you can see the map, you can see our name, York County, our state, Nebraska, and it kind of shows where it is. We have videos that we've done over the last 2 years, and we continue to update, and they're integrated into YouTube onto the website. They're embedded. Our featured news, and then our higher level members. These pages are linked right into the business directory. And as you can see, we have photos, we have links, we have documents right into the business directory. Our site selector page. One thing I have heard from a number of people is how impressed they are with the amount of data in here. We have studies attached. We have, I'm going to flip over to the transportation and infrastructure here. Highways, maps. Our utilities are covered and linked. Our telecommunications. Right in here, these reports you can run. You can select York County, McCool, whatever community, and select what you're looking at and just do a report. Demographics, it automatically pulls up this information, so we don't have to worry about going in and updating it. Some of my smaller communities have utilized this for when they're working on grant applications, which is, it does give them a little bit of a tool that is easier for them to access. Our buildings here, it's a little slower when it loads, so just be patient here. We asked Golden Shovel to highlight the county, which it did, and Lois pops up a little icon showing where everything is. And it's smooth, it's integrated well, it's sorted, it looks nice. People are able to find exactly what they're looking for and go into the property information. The retail commercial property ones, it's great because these capture the small businesses or the commercial developments here that we were not able to capture before in Lois very easily. Gives us all the information, anyone looking. I actually have a small business coming into the community that selected their location completely off of our website. They knew which one they were looking at when they called me, and when they called, they were looking at the traffic type of traffic that was going through the business. park and wanted more information on the incentives. And they purchased the property from the city after 2 phone calls. Community profiles, which is also integrated with Lois at the bottom. We have our text. It's text heavy right here because we have several communities. And then you can do the reports. Let's say you want to look at the higher education, you submit it, you're able to generate the report. Visual, it's put together nice. And then we have resources for our businesses. Resource libraries. You can actually come in here and select exactly what you're looking for and narrow it down. Erin, while I'm on here, is there anything else you'd like me to point out?
Nope, I think it did a good job of presenting the site. It looks really nice. Could you explain a little bit about how you have it connected to the social media?
Yes, we have up here, they link. So let's say I want to share this. Just click to Facebook, it shares the page. At the bottom of the pages, it will take you straight into our Facebook page, which is nice. And we have that for Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube is something we've been playing with. I'm getting a lot more familiar with it, utilizing the resources on there, but it's becoming more and more important that we have that video component. Our news, the news directory, and I would say everything that goes in here ends up out on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And you guys take care of the ones, Golden Shovel takes care of the documents that are being released weekly, but there are things that go in here as well that are extra articles that go out on social media as well. We utilize Hootsuite for scheduling of the news releases that are going out, and that does help quite a bit because we can get it set up and I don't have to worry about it. And I'm all about making it simple, making it as easy as we can. Okay, I am going to turn it over to Bob here so you can talk about the labor stuff. It was something we added on this last year. Actually, December is when the first reports came out. Model went up, I think, the end of January. So this is something to deepen our website, provide more information. My existing businesses have been very excited about the wage and salary report because it's allowing them to take a look at where their salaries are compared to the competitors. And our labor market is really, really tight. So that information helps them. But Bob, I'll let you run with this one.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon. We're gonna stay live on the site and work through 4 distinct products that York County has added to their site that I think sets them apart in terms of labor and workforce information. First of all, Smart Solutions Group, so everyone knows, we're an economic development consulting firm. We've been in business since 2001. We're now involved with workforce development information. But we primarily work with strategy and organizational marketing, branding plans, and have worked closely with York on this project and with Golden Shovel on multiple projects. And we've worked with over 500, I think right at 500 communities since we started the company in 2001. So that's a little quick background on Smart Solutions Group. The workforce information that our philosophy towards providing workforce development products is obviously based on the consistent what you see from site selectors and company executives telling us that workforce and available building information are the really available building and land information are consistently the most needed information and the most used information and searched information on economic development websites. So it needs to be prominent and meet certain criteria that we look at when we're developing products, and those are that it's the most current information available, it's focused on the targets that a particular organization is interested in, and it's not generic to the extent it can be targeted and customized to those target industries. That's another key factor. It's also based on reliable information that's sound and based on good methodology. And it's also, and one of these products, the first product I'm going to show you is potential for interactivity between the user, and it's easy to use. It's customized, easy to use, and it's targeted. And so those are some of the key criteria. We worked with Lisa on 4 specific data products that are part of a suite of products that we call Skills Ready. And I'm going to go through those live here on the, and Lisa's going to help navigate me through here. First thing we want to talk about is the model, the Skills Ready model. And if Lisa, you could click on the manufacturing one. Why don't we click on that one? First of all, York County developed or identified 3 target segments that all of these workforce products are based off of, and those were manufacturing, logistics, and agribusiness. This particular product is what we call the Skills Ready model. It's an interactive model customized to those target segments. So there are 3 of them available here. We're looking at the manufacturing one now. As you see, and you probably can't read it really well, but there are some simple instructions available to the user, and what we ask the user, and that user could be anyone that's searching information in a variety of different areas or searching specifically for information on York. They will be asked to provide a company name, and that can be a generic name, a fictitious name, whatever it might be. And they're asked to provide a project name. That could again be a coded name. And then they are asked to provide an email. That can be either their company email or it can be their personal email, because that's extremely important, because this report that's going to be generated instantaneously is going to be sent back to that email address. So what happens then is the client or the potential user, and if that could be an internal user, Lisa can use this as well for a scenario-based type situations. They will, these SOC codes that are listed on the left-hand column here are specific to those target industry segments. They're the occupations that are prominent in each of those targets, so they don't have to go through any more occupational codes than are necessary. Those are been grouped by these target industry segments. So they created, let's say a company has a specific project with specific or at least fairly specific numbers of workers they're looking at in a variety of different occupations. They're asked to enter those numbers in on the column called number of workers needed, and they provide a number, and they keep going through until they've entered information all the way down to the end of this list, which they are then, after they've identified the number of workers they're looking at by occupation, they're asked to click on a button called Send, and they send that information to us and to the processing part of this, and the report is generated, and it comes back to the user via the email that they provided us instantly. And actually, we did a test this morning. We test it all the time, and it comes back within less than a minute this morning. So with that report, and that report, and Lisa's pulled one up, actually the test we did this morning, this can be branded, and we will be providing, we'll be integrating the York Development Corporation's logo into this report. So this can be branded to your organization, but what you'll get in this report, as this indicates, is the number of workers in the labor market that are in each of the areas that this company has indicated they are going to need workers in. And not only how many that currently are in that market right now performing that skill, but also a very unique feature of this model is we provide the number of workers in this labor market that have compatible skills to that occupation. And that's based on an analytical tool that we've developed utilizing the ACT Work Keys and National Career Readiness Certificate. So those two pieces of information are provided, the number of workers that are in that market now with those skills and those with compatible skills, the median wage of those specific to that market, of those occupations in that marketplace, and then the total median wage by occupation, and then the total project at the bottom, the total project median wage or the total project wages projected based on wages in that market for this particular scenario. So it's specific to the request that this client or this user is entered into as a scenario, and this is available in 3 target segments that the York Development Corporation and Lisa identified, and it's available based on the most current information out there right now. So it's a variety of different uses. Real quickly, obviously visitors to the site that are looking for information, but also based on proposals you may be submitting to potential clients, and also for what we call scenario-based marketing, where you're creating potential scenarios in your target industry. You can include that in some of your marketing materials based on here are the number of skilled workers that are in your marketplace right now based on what might be some projected needs in each of the target segments. So let's go to the second Skills Ready product that is integrated into the York County site, and that's called the Skills Ready Profile or Labor Market Profile, as it's listed here on the York site. And let's open up the agribusiness profile and just real quickly look at that. This is based on a lot of the information that's generated from the model, but basically this is targeted. Again, there's 3 of these based on the 3 target segments that has been identified by York Development Corporation. And it provides right off the bat a description of the labor market that is the York region labor market, and the number of people in that labor market based on primarily commuting patterns in that region. So that's the first piece of information, and there's a variety of, the first segment of this report includes overall trends and data based on employment and industry sector employment, and so that's kind of an overall look at the labor market. But then it gets into, as we scroll down, specific to, again, the target, a variety of information based on agribusiness in the York region labor market, and provides trends and data, employment, wages, and education and training opportunities in that market. So it's, again, targeted, and it's customized to the specific information available on this target segment. Then the appendix, which, again, I won't go into a lot of detail, but provides a lot of additional information that's very useful to clients, but also to the local economic developer. It's on specific occupational information, and it also compares that information, compares your local regional information to both the state and the United States in terms of your occupational information. And so that's what we call the Skills Ready Labor Market Profile, and York County has 3 targeted labor market profiles that they've included on their site. The third Skills Ready profile or Skills Ready product that's included on the York County site is what Lisa referred to before, which is a real basic and but very comprehensive tool called the Labor Market Wage and Salary Report. And as Lisa mentioned before, many of our clients really like this in terms of using it with improving the knowledge and awareness of their existing businesses in terms of what the overall wage structure looks like in their labor market. It's very comprehensive. It includes information on all occupations that exist within that labor market, not just and by 6-digit standard occupational codes. So it's all occupations that exist in that market. It also provides, as some of the other pieces do as well, comparisons between the wage situation in the labor market that, in this case, York, to the state of Nebraska, and the United States. And it also provides, which is very useful to clients as well, and anyone evaluating the labor market, but percentile information. So it will give you what the 10%, 25%, 75%, 90% percentile breakouts of wages in that market. And there's an explanation of what, for those that, like me a long time ago, I didn't know what that even meant, but that's, there's an explanation of percentiles and how that can be applied to your analysis of this information. So that is the third labor market skills ready product that's available on the York County site. And the fourth one is called the skills gap analysis for the, again, for the York County labor market. And this is a very useful tool in a variety of different ways. And again, based on the, this is a labor market regional piece. It explains where the data came from, but it's primary, and the early part of this report is an overview of some information, labor market overview that gives you in comparison information and kind of the breakout of what the market looks like with some highlighted points. And this is primarily a planning and kind of analytical tool for the economic developer and the workforce development officials in the area. In this case, and it can be done in a variety of different ways, but in this case, Lisa and her organization wanted to look at the top 50 high pay, and that would be $17 or more per hour occupational areas. The top 50 occupational areas with skill gaps in their labor market. It can be done for target industries. It can be done, totally based on the top skill gaps in target industries, if that's something. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but this is how this was the most useful approach that York County Development decided to use. But again, identifies the top 50 skill gap occupational areas, and that's based on projections over the next 10 years of growth or again, the trends in those occupational areas projected for that labor market over the next 10 years. So and one thing that just to point out about skill gap analysis is that it's heavily based on some really good information in terms of occupational growth, but also on completion information from the educational institutions. So sometimes those are reported a little differently. So the numbers may be off a little bit in terms of the actual reality in the labor market, but I think this information gives you a really good indicator of where gaps exist. Maybe not down to the exact number. In some cases it's real close, I'm sure, but it will give you a strong indicator where those gaps exist, and it gives you a great tool for planning purposes and for alignment purposes between economic development, the areas you might be wanting to target in the future, and your work with the workforce development partners and allies you have in the region. So that's the fourth skills ready product tool that's been integrated into the site. We strongly believe that just based on a lot of the work we've done in terms of looking at other websites and including the workforce information that's included on other economic development websites, that this collection of skills ready tools that Lisa has integrated into the site really set them apart in terms of really a crucial piece of information and a set of information that clients and investors and others are looking for when they're looking to analyze the region. So with that, I will turn it back over to Aaron or Lisa.
Real quick before we leave this, Bob, I just want to point out at the back of the skills gap, they're put together within categories. So right here, you get the construction and maintenance. So
Okay.
if you're looking at a particular area, it's gathered together, which is nice when I'm working with a group of people and we're focusing in on a category.
Yep.
So Aaron, I think this one's yours now.
That sounds great. Well, thank you both for presenting today. Bob, since I didn't get to introduce you halfway through the presentation, we have worked with the Smart Solutions Group quite a bit, and if you need an organization to really dig deep in your community and analyze for both positioning and any type of this workforce-related data, Bob and his team really know how to get that done. So I just definitely recommend that. And particularly, I think it's of note that York County is a rural county. And what you're seeing on this website and you're seeing in the links to which they're going to collect and provide really current, accurate data is a big testament to one of the big issues that rural communities have are going out of date or not keeping up on their site, knowing that the website's their main communication tool. So really great. If you guys are ready, we do have a couple questions that have come in. I can send those your way.
Okay.
So the first question was for Lisa. Lisa, we noticed that you had videos on the homepage. Could you talk a little bit about how you acquired those videos and what the process was?
You know, I've been incredibly lucky. Our local paper has an employee that is very high tech, and they have given me a great deal where I can do a video a month, basically. And we haven't quite hit that yet because of my schedule. But it's the business spotlights. I've identified businesses to go into, and we've put together a list of questions, and they get to tell their story. And then Eric over at the paper puts the video together. So it's been very cost effective. Before they came forward, and they're one of my members, they're one of my investors, but before they came forward, I was looking at only being able to do a handful of videos because of the cost. So utilizing the local resources.
Great point in working with the local newspapers to get economic development content as beyond just the latest news stories is an excellent idea. They're high quality videos. It sounds like they've been working well for you.
They have been, and it's the testimonial from the businesses mean a lot more than me saying York Cold Storage is saying this.
Yeah, you bet. All right, there was another question that came in. What was your final cost to get this website done, and did you pay something separate for the Smart Solutions tool?
Yes, I pay an ongoing cost of $6,000 a year for the ongoing maintenance and redesign. Aaron, do you want me to divulge what the design cost was?
Oh, no. Yeah, as far as our services are concerned, a site like this right now in our current pricing, we do for $950 a month, and we don't do setup costs too much anymore. It's spread out over the years. I believe with York County, we did a setup cost, and then there was a lower annual cost.
Yes. And then Smart Solutions, there was a contract cost. So that was separate from the website completely. And
okay.
Bob, if you don't mind, it was a little over 10,000, between 10 and 11,000.
Right, and just to point out, to add to that, Lisa, each of those 4 products can be provided separately, but Lisa worked with us on kind of a package, and then identified her targets, and those are some of the variables. And then we can number of targets, and then kind of what's going to be included in that suite of products that we provide. So all of that that I went through with you is what the little over $10,000 that Lisa indicated.
Great. There's another question for you, Bob. How long does it take to generate those types of reports?
If you look at, I mean, they're all a little different. I mean, the wage and salary report is fairly quick. We can do that fairly quickly, but probably the most time-intensive piece is the creation of the model, because that requires some coding and some development of the model itself from the analytical side. That if we had someone providing us with the specifics that they needed today, it would probably be, you know, at this. It's not any more than a 2 to 3 week process, depending on a workload and other loose ends. So we're not talking about multiple months or anything. We can turn it around quicker, depending on when it fits best for the client in terms of what they want to integrate it in. But yeah, we're talking about 2 to 4 weeks for each of those products to be developed in based on some other variables and number of targets, etc.
Great. There's another question that came in for you, Bob. How often is the data updated, and is that part of the contract, or is that a different cost?
The data, it is a different cost. The data can be updated most of that data can be updated as much as quarterly. Now, we discussed that with the client, but in case of York's case, I think they're looking at more of an annual, maybe even 18-month basis. But the information is available. Current information is available to us quarterly. It doesn't change a lot for many of the areas we work with, so we recommend kind of looking at an annual renewal, and then so that would be a lesser cost, but an additional cost to the original.
Great, thanks. There's another question for Lisa. You mentioned on the site that there were some case studies highlighting some of the testimonials, people in the area that you've added since the launch of the site. Have you been getting good feedback on those?
I have been. I don't have necessarily on our website case studies. Some of the videos talk about their own projects as the testimonials, and that's kind of the way we've gone with testimonials. But my local businesses that have utilized it have told me how easy it is to find what they're looking for. And then the businesses coming in, I've had very positive response from them as well. I hope that answers that question.
Yep, I believe so. Another question came in. Was a person commented that I've been led to believe that information is digested today in smaller bites, that info should be given in small text with links to learn more. It seems this website is a little heavier on text. And just asked to share our thoughts. So I'll just share that's correct. You know, certainly as the trends have been shifting, that people are digesting content in smaller bites. My feeling regarding economic development sites is there's certainly a place for having more text, especially when you get into the details and the data. Getting people to the information that they're looking for, I can definitely be done in smaller bites. But at some point, it's good to have the details there. Do you have any feedback or thoughts on that, Lisa?
You know, it's a battle, because if you look at our community profile page, we have those reports at the bottom, but it is heavy text on the top. But when we're a county organization, we have to give a blurb to each community. So it is a little bit of a battle, and it's a struggle trying to find that fine line that you walk. I guess I err on the side of caution that it's better to provide too much information than not enough.
Well, sounds great. The last question that came in isn't a question at all, but just some kudos. So, good job, Lisa and Bob. Very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
Are there any final comments you'd like to share? Lisa first, or Bob, before we wrap up?
I think it's very important to have a good presence online, and everybody knows that. For me, it's been worth the investment. My board and my community, my city council, my county commissioners, they're all very, very pleased with the website. And it's where we are now, we're making changes every week. Where we were before, our website was very stagnant because every time I needed something, it was beyond my skill to do, and we had to pay for it. So we weren't changing the website. So this has been a very positive step forward for our organization overall. And the analytics I shared, I mean, they've grown so much more. It's being utilized by my local businesses, and that means a lot. But thank you, Aaron, for the opportunity.
You're most welcome, and thank you. And those are excellent comments. Bob, do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to share?
Just one quick one. I think this site is a real good or very indicative of the need to focus on your target audiences. There are a lot of good information on the site, but a lot of it is targeted to who York County Development is trying to communicate with, and is to really get a good understanding of who you're trying to communicate with and use and package the information for that target audiences. This site really nails that, and I think that's something to keep in mind as you start to develop or adjust your websites.
Well, great. Well, let me extend a thank you to both you, Lisa, and Bob, for participating today and sharing what you've developed for York County. And thank you to everybody that joined today and was able to listen in on the presentation. I hope you got a lot of value of learning some of the best practices that York County is applying. If you'd be interested in a copy of this presentation, you can send an email over to us at Golden Shovel. I'd recommend sending it to Victor Perez. His email address is vperez@goldenshovel.com. And without further ado, keep your eyes out for the next upcoming expert webinars, and we'll be having one yet coming up next month. So thanks so much for attending, and look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Thank you.